Karen customer got me suspended from work after I defended a struggling mom. She was bullying, then used her husband's law firm to threaten my job. So we exposed her secret recordings of every parent at the school gala and orchestrated the most public downfall she never saw coming. My job was like a safe haven for Karens. You see, I worked at Chelsea Piers in NYC, which meant kids' birthday parties made up our entire customer base. Almost 90% of them were full-blown Karens. Lululemon sets, designer bags, never left a tip. So one day when I saw 15 kids come in, I was already rolling my eyes. One of the moms came up to me, and I assumed it was to complain about how the menu prices had gone up, as if I had any control over that. Instead, she smiled at me in a way that I knew she was different. She told me to put the party under her credit card. This was weird because it wasn't even her child's party, but I listened anyway. None of the moms, not even the mother of the child whose birthday it was, thanked her. But the whole time the woman was smiling, as if it really was her pleasure. She ended up tipping 40% and even got all the moms to leave us a good review on Google Maps. And I never saw her again. Until 2 months later, that is. She did the same thing again. Except this time she came early and even helped to set up all the balloons and decorations. Tipped 50%. But this time, the moms started berating her. Not outright, but in the passive-aggressive way that only moms know how to do. I heard as they said things like, "It must be nice to have all that money to throw around." Or, "If you really wanted to help, you could have gotten the private section instead of regular seating." Everything in me wanted to grab her shoulders and tell her that she deserved to be appreciated. Unfortunately, this goes against the employee code of conduct. So instead, I just glared at any mom who even dared to open their mouths. A month later, she came back, but before I could say anything, she slammed a huge black duffel bag down on the counter. Inside was a folder of every child's allergies, food preferences, and their preferred seat at the table. I just stared at her, wondering what the F she did in life to get to this point. But this time, she didn't leave a tip. Heck, she didn't even pay, because her credit card declined. I saw tears welling up in her eyes, and I gently led her over to the staff room. I don't know what I was expecting, but she completely broke down and told me everything. How everyone always expected her to run the school fundraiser committee while being the top donor. She was even the emergency contact for half the class because she's always available. Turns out she didn't even have more money than the other moms. She just didn't want anyone else to feel as pressured as her, and now that her husband had lost his job, she couldn't afford to play the role anymore. My heart broke. She kept apologizing for crying, but I told her she had nothing to be sorry for. Suddenly, she pulled out this envelope from her purse that said mortgage on it and started counting out 20s. I stopped her right there and said I'd cover it this time. When we walked back out, the other moms were all huddled together whispering. Jessica, the queen bee of the group with her perfectly blown out hair, looked right at Sarah and said, "We were just discussing how the party standards have been slipping lately." She said it with this fake smile while looking Sarah up and down. The credit card declined again the next month. This time it was in front of everyone. Jessica stepped forward with her platinum card and made a big show of it. "Sarah, maybe you should focus on getting your finances in order before committing to things you can't afford. It's embarrassing for all of us." Sarah excused herself to the bathroom. When she came back, her eyes were puffy and red. The moms completely ignored her and demanded that she cleaned up her makeup so she doesn't look so miserable. When Sarah actually started to take out her pocket mirror and mascara, something in me snapped. My manager was off duty that day, so I knew I could say whatever I wanted. I walked over to the table and tapped one of the kids' plastic cups until everyone paid attention. "Jessica, I've been watching these parties for a year now. How much have you spent altogether?" There was silence. Her mouth was wide open, completely stunned that I knew her name. "Well, let me tell you, probably around $20 on gas." My tone was bright and cheery. I continued, "Sarah has spent over $7,000 on your bratty children's parties, and I just wanted to let you know that every time you guys leave, me and the entire staff all betch about you, especially you." I then pointed right at Jessica. "You look like an off-brand Barbie doll. Maybe if you spent half as much money on your child than you do on your cosmetic procedures, your husband might actually love you." The other moms started shifting uncomfortably. The kids had all stopped playing and were staring wide-eyed at the drama. Jessica grabbed her purse child and walked out. I was over the moon, but little did I know, Jessica wouldn't let me get away so easily. And it wasn't long before she taught me exactly what secrets rich people are hiding. 3 days passed before everything started unraveling. I was wiping down tables when my manager stormed in, face red and jaw clenched. He slammed a piece of paper on the counter. "Conference room." Now, my stomach dropped as I followed him. Inside sat 2 corporate representatives with matching stern expressions. The woman pushed a formal complaint across the table. Jessica's signature stared back at me. "Mr. Pierce claims you threatened her child and used profanity during a birthday party," the man said. "These are serious allegations." I opened my mouth to defend myself, but my manager cut me off. "You're suspended pending investigation. Clock out and don't come back until we call you." The walk to my locker felt endless. Coworkers avoided eye contact. I grabbed my things and left through the back door, hands shaking as I fumbled with my car keys. A week crawled by with no word from Chelsea Piers. I spent most days refreshing my email and jumping every time my phone buzzed. Then Sarah showed up at my apartment, looking worse than I'd ever seen her. She collapsed on my couch, clutching a tissue. "Jessica's been telling everyone my husband was fired for embezzlement. The school fundraising committee just removed me as chair." "That's insane. Can't you prove it's not true?" Sarah shook her head. "Who's going to believe me? She's got the whole mom group wrapped around her finger. They're all avoiding me at pickup." I made us both tea while Sarah explained how Jessica had been systematically poisoning her reputation. Every small financial struggle got twisted into something sinister. Every declined credit card became evidence of supposed crimes. 2 weeks after my suspension, things got stranger. Amber, another server at Chelsea Piers, texted me urgently. We met at a coffee shop where she slid a phone across the table. "Jessica left this at the counter yesterday. Look what I found." The screen showed a voice recording app with dozens of files, each one labeled with a different mom's name and date. I clicked on one randomly and heard private conversations about marriages, finances, medical issues. "She's been recording people for months," Amber whispered. "During every party, she leaves her phone recording in the bathroom or near the gift table." My hands trembled as I scrolled through file after file. Blackmail material on every single mom in that group. Except the recordings of Sarah were different. They were edited, spliced together to make innocent comments sound incriminating. 3 weeks into my suspension, Sarah called me crying. "Jessica, Jessica had organized a concerned parents meeting where she presented screenshots of messages. According to Jessica, Sarah had been desperately asking other parents for loans, even suggesting she might steal fundraiser money. "They're fake," Sarah sobbed. "I never sent those messages." But everyone believes her. She had printouts and everything. Several families immediately distanced themselves from Sarah. Her daughter's playdate invitations dried up. The carpool group suddenly didn't have room anymore. 1 month later, Sarah's daughter came home from school in tears. She'd been disinvited from 3 birthday parties that week. The birthday kids said their moms told them Sarah's family was having problems, and it was better to keep distance. I started reaching out to former servers at Chelsea Piers. If Jessica had done this to Sarah, maybe there were others. Paul, who'd quit 6 months ago, had stories. So did Elena and George. They all remembered Jessica and her tactics. 6 weeks passed with no word about my job. Then Amber overheard Jessica on a call in the bathroom. She was talking to someone at her husband's law firm about filing a discrimination lawsuit against Chelsea Piers unless they fired me permanently. She's using her husband's connections, Amber told me. The firm apparently handles Chelsea Piers' contracts. She's threatening to have them drop the venue as a client. I felt sick. Without this job, I couldn't pay rent. But fighting a law firm? That was impossible for someone like me. 2 months into this nightmare, Sarah discovered something even worse. Her mail had been going missing. Job interview invitations she'd never received. A check from her aunt meant to help with mortgage payments. Vanished. She installed a security camera and caught Jessica on video, casually taking mail from Sarah's box during her morning jog. The postal inspector said it was a federal crime, but Jessica's husband's firm would make prosecution nearly impossible. 10 weeks in, Jessica orchestrated her cruelest move yet. She manipulated the PTA board into auditing Sarah's past fundraising activities. Even though every penny was accounted for, Sarah now needed a lawyer to defend against the discrepancies Jessica claimed existed. "I can't afford this," Sarah told me, surrounded by boxes of receipts. "The lawyer wants $5,000 just to start. We're already behind on the mortgage." 3 months after that horrible birthday party, Sarah and I made a breakthrough. Through the former servers network, we found 3 other families from Jessica's previous school. The pattern was identical. Choose a target, destroy them systematically, then move on. "She did this to me 2 years ago," Ashley told us over video call. "Lost my job, my friends, nearly my marriage. We had to move districts to escape her." The other families had similar stories. Jessica would identify someone vulnerable, usually someone kind who others relied on, then methodically dismantle their life. But none of them had fought back. They'd all just fled. 14 weeks into our ordeal, Jessica made her first real mistake. Sarah's cousin Danielle worked as a personal trainer at Jessica's gym. During a session, Jessica couldn't resist bragging. "You should see how I've got this pathetic mom wrapped around my finger." Jessica laughed while doing squats. "She actually thinks people will believe her over me. I've got recordings of everyone. 1 word from me and any of them are finished." Danielle recorded the entire confession on her phone, pretending to check her training app. Jessica detailed her schemes, the mail theft, the fake screenshots, even laughed about getting me fired. The best part? My husband's firm makes sure I never face consequences. These suburban moms have no idea who they're messing with. 4 months after everything started, the school's spring gala arrived. Sarah and I had spent weeks preparing. We'd gathered evidence, testimonies, and most importantly, Jessica's own recordings. The ballroom glittered with fairy lights as parents mingled in cocktail attire. Jessica held court near the auction tables, her platinum hair perfectly styled, surrounded by her usual circle. Sarah walked in wearing a simple black dress, head held high. The whispers started immediately. Jessica's smile widened as she watched parents step away from Sarah. Then I entered through the service door, wearing my Chelsea Piers uniform. Security moved to stop me, but Sarah had added me to the volunteer list. We'd planned every detail. "Excuse me," Sarah said, taking the microphone from the bandstand. "I have something everyone needs to hear." Jessica's face went pale as Danielle's recording played through the speakers. Her confession echoed through the ballroom. Parents froze mid-conversation as they heard Jessica describing her manipulations, laughing about destroying Sarah's life. But we weren't done. I connected my laptop to the projection screen and started playing Jessica's secret recordings. Parents gasped as they heard their own private conversations being played back. "She's been recording all of you," I announced. "For months. In bathrooms, during parties, everywhere." The room erupted. Parents frantically checked their phones, suddenly understanding why Jessica always knew their secrets. The PTA president looked horrified as she recognized her own voice discussing her daughter's learning disability. Jessica tried to leave but found her path blocked by angry parents. Her perfect composure finally cracked as she stammered excuses. The final blow came when Sarah presented the security footage of Jessica stealing mail. "This is a federal crime," Sarah said calmly, "and I've already filed a report." Jessica's husband, who'd been standing frozen by the bar, walked over to his wife. His face was stone. "We're leaving. Now." As security escorted them out, Jessica's carefully constructed world collapsed. The very weapons she'd used against others had turned on her. Within days, Jessica's husband filed for divorce and distanced his firm from her actions. The school board held an emergency meeting and banned Jessica from all events. The Postal Inspection Service opened a formal investigation. Sarah was reinstated as fundraising chair with apologies from everyone who doubted her. Parents who'd avoided her for months suddenly remembered what a dedicated volunteer she'd been. Chelsea Piers called me back to work after reviewing security footage that showed Jessica planting false evidence in the bathroom. They offered back pay and an apology. My manager even admitted he should have listened to my side. At Sarah's first fundraiser meeting after being reinstated, the room was packed. Parents who'd whispered behind her back now offered to help with everything. The woman who'd given so much finally received the support she deserved. Jessica's former friends discovered more victims at previous schools, leading to additional investigations. Her husband ensured she faced proper consequences for mail theft, protecting his firm's reputation by cooperating fully with authorities. Sarah and I became close friends through the ordeal. She still pays for parties when she can, but now other parents step up too. The toxic atmosphere Jessica created slowly healed as people remembered what community actually meant. Sometimes I still see Jessica's recordings in my mind, all those violated privacies and manufactured dramas. But mostly I remember Sarah's strength in facing someone who tried to destroy her with kindness. The birthday parties at Chelsea Piers feel different now. Parents treat each other with more respect, perhaps remembering how easily trust can be weaponized. And whenever someone new tries to start drama, others shut it down quickly. Sarah's daughter got re-invited to every party she'd been excluded from. The other kids never really understood why she'd been pushed out anyway. Children, it turns out, are often kinder than their parents. As for Jessica, last I heard she'd moved 3 towns over, but word travels in parent networks. Her reputation preceded her everywhere. The queen bee, who'd ruled through fear and manipulation, found herself completely alone. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Jessica had spent so much energy destroying a woman whose only crime was generosity. In the end, that same generosity from Sarah, refusing to stoop to Jessica's level, exposed the truth. I learned something valuable through all of this. Bullies like Jessica rely on their victims staying silent, feeling too ashamed or scared to fight back. But when good people stand together, even the most calculated cruelty crumbles. Sarah still comes to Chelsea Piers for parties. She still smiles that same genuine smile. But now when she offers to help, people thank her. They see her worth. And Jessica's empty seat at those parties speaks louder than any of her recorded whispers ever did.